Well, good afternoon, Flosstube. Today is Friday, October 29th, 2021, and this is episode number 12 of my Flosstube. First of all, I wanted to start off by giving you all a big thank you for all of the support and love that you gave to me on my zippy bag tutorial and my project bag tutorial. And I posted this on Instagram last night. But I just wanted to let you know that yes, that tutorial is from my panel, but that's how I make all of my project bags. And so that's easily how you can take a quilt block and make it into a project bag as well. This one is, today was my day to post on the Follow the Bluebird from Riley Blake Designs for the Hush Hush collection, which is all of this background right here. And so we're all supposed to make a bluebird from our fabric collections and do it into some kind of a project. So of course I made mine into a project bag. And I know I've talked to you about the Hush Hush collection before, but what it is it's 21 of us Riley Blake designers got together and designed one low volume print, and then it all became one collection called Hush Hush. And so that's what the Follow the Bluebird is to celebrate that. This is my print right here called Stitched. Right there on the top. And so you can see that, yeah, this is one of the bags from the panel. And I like to make smaller bags and put inside to keep my floss and things like that. So this is what Butternut House has been living in. Let me set these aside. And I was so excited because today I want to show you my progress from Stitchtober. And one of the things I was able to do was finish the Butternut House Pin Keep by Stacy Nash. And of course it's not fully finished yet, but I did buy this Motherlode color of Chanel from Lady Dot Creates, and I want to put that around the edges. Let me take this out and show you. Look how pretty that's going to be. So I think that's going to be perfect when I get around to sewing that into a pillow this weekend, probably, before I put them away. But I like to stitch during the season, and so I wanted to make sure that I finished the two pieces that were definitely Halloween, by Halloween. So, you know, I don't always have the goal to fully finish them, but I do have the goal to finish stitching them. So I just love this one. And this one I stitched on 36 count Old Stationery by Seraphim Fabrics, and I stitched with all of the called for DMC and a Weeks Dye Works, and I love that. Let me pull it up a little bit closer. Here, let's move that, Chanel. Give you a little bit closer look. Okay. So there's one. Let's set that over there. And let me just set this aside for a second. I'll pull it back in to show you something. All right, so this one, oh, here's another bag I made. This is Tim Holt's fabric. Isn't that cute? So when I was shopping in Idaho with Christy in the spring, and we were at a quilt shop when we were camping. And so I saw some Tim Holtz fabric, and I'm a big Tim Holtz fan because I'm a paper crafter, and so I love a lot of his stuff and use it a lot. And I saw this and some other fabrics too to make a project bag. Isn't that fun? So I made that, of course, same tutorial as I, just told you, which was my zippy bags. But that's where Reverend Gordon Squashbottom has lived. So I was able to finish him as well. And I did post him on Instagram, and I'll say the same thing here as I did there. It really wouldn't be Halloween without me stitching something by Lori from Not Forgotten Farm. And I've been wanting to stitch him for quite a while, so I'm so happy that I was able to do it. And I stitched him on 36 count baked clay by Fox and Rabbit. And I just used DMC for my stash. So I did my own conversion. I will do a blog post this weekend giving my conversion. I've had several of you ask me, so I'll just go ahead and leave a link in this video description of my blog post with the conversion so that you can get that if you're interested. But again, that's the Reverend Gordon Squash Bottom from Not Forgotten Farm. And I love what Lori wrote in here about this. I'm going to read it real quick. So she says, the Rev, as he is affectionately known in these parts, is strolling the town green with his familiar cat by his side. A short walk to the meeting house, but a spooky walk nonetheless. The wind whips leaves up through the crisp autumn air as the Rev tries to keep his lantern lit. Is that a smattering of snowflakes I see? I love that little description. So thanks, Lori, for another wonderful chart, making it fun for Halloween. So I brought in a few of my things from Stitchtober last year to show you. Let me pull that one there. Remember her? She's from Not Forgotten Farm. This is Matilda Hornbuckle. Look how cute she looks with the Rev there. And then this one I had done with, this is Teresa Kogut's, and last year she did a little booklet, and this was in there. I can't remember what she's called though, but she's by Teresa Kogut. But you know, any of these past Stitchtobers that I'm going to be showing you, they're all on my past floss tubes. And you know, I've only been floss tubing for a year. This is episode number 12, so I think it'll be pretty easy to look on my playlists of floss tubes and find the information. And I remember that I had filled her with sawdust, and then I had done some wool applique on the back to close up the little opening when I put sawdust in. I've had some people ask me how I put sawdust in my pillows, and what I do is I do it the same way I do my other pillows. Is I stitch all the way around and cut a little opening there for turning, and then I'll either whip stitch it closed, you know, or something like that, or do wool applique, anything like that. But when I'm filling it with sawdust, I'll use a funnel. So you can make a paper funnel or any funnel, and I'll just funnel that sawdust in so that it can go in the corners. And I always put a piece of thin batting behind the cross stitch so I don't have any sand or sawdust or whatever you want to say, you know, filtering out. And so that's how I fill it with sawdust. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to show you those two things. Look how cute they all look all together. So I'll be making this into a big pin keep. I'll be making this into a big pillow as well. I do have a great big basket that I put these larger pillows in. You know, I like smaller bowls to put my little pillows in, and you know, larger for my bigger pillows. All right. So there's that, but I was thinking I should show you, while I'm showing you, some of my Stitchtober things from last time. So I put some over there. I'm going to have Cass hand them to me. Let's just, this one is, let's see, this is called Blackbird Inn by Little House Maybe Works. So I did that one last year. And then I did these super cute, let me move that aside, His and Her Stockings by Plum Street Samplers. These are the Thanksgiving stockings. And again, all of these that I'm showing you are in, you know, my previous floss tubes, like everything you know, what I stitched on and all of that stuff. While I had these out, you know, decorating my home, I thought I'd pull them in and just do a little preview again. Now this is my pumpkins for sale. I took him out of the frame because I wanted the frame for something else, as you know how sometimes you do when you're decorating, you're moving things around. And when I took him out of the frame to see if he would look better in another frame, or because I wanted to use that frame for something else, I actually kind of liked just how he looked without a frame, because with my decorations that I had set out, you know, pumpkins and things like that, and I had just put him on an easel, and I really liked how he looked without the frame. So he can still fit an 11 by 14 frame if I want to pop him in, but I still just have him laced like I've shown you how before. And again, this is my pumpkins for sale. pattern. And then here is another one by Lori of Not Forgotten Farm, and this is, I believe he's Tom Turkey. I think that's what his name is. Let me see. Oh, I got my envelope, but I don't have my library card. It must be in the next project. Okay, so anyway, this is the one where I mounted, just like I laced it and did it just like I did my scarecrow. Put it with some prim fabric on the back because I had this piece of wood, but it was too long and it had a space here. So what I did was I just put a knob there and put some old keys, and that's for my Thanksgiving. Love that one. Then this one does have the card in it. This is Thanksgiving Comes Again by, of course, the Prairie Schooler. And I stitched this on my 25 count Lugana and with 2 threads over 2. And I did that because I loved the color of the Lugana with all of these fall colors, but I also wanted it to fit this tray exactly. And this is a tray that I got from Hobby Lobby. This is the small size. I have a larger size for cross stitch as well. And then I just painted this with my paint and distressed it a little bit, but I love how this looks in the tray. And I can just keep it down as a tray, or I can put it up like this, you know, and it's deep enough that it stands on its own. So there's that. And then of course this is Feast of Friendship. Now this is the sal that I did with Christy from Crosshatch Quilts, and then invited y'all to stitch along with us, and you did, and it's been so much fun, and I love pulling this out every year. So of course this is Feast of Friendship by Blackbird Designs. Love the frame on that. Okay, so that's all of my things that I was going to show you from Stitchtober, and then I want to go ahead and show you my WIPs that I worked on that I'm still working on. I do stitch on my Stitchtober clear until Thanksgiving, and then on Thanksgiving I always have a Christmas start, and then I start stitching Christmas because, you know, I love stitching in the season. We just got back from a nice little mountain retreat in Midway, Utah, and it was so nice to be stitching fall things in the fall with the beautiful leaves swirling around me, and then to be stitching leaves and things like that. It was so fun, and so that's what I like to do. I don't necessarily worry about finishing them until the next year, the things that I have stitched during the season before. For instance, you know, the fall finishes that I just showed you, I will just make sure I have them finished, fully finished for next fall. But I enjoy the memories that it brings knowing that I stitched them during fall, and so that's how I am with Christmas too. So I stitch fall all the way up to Thanksgiving, and then I start stitching Christmas. So this is my Sabbath stitch, and I've continued stitching on that. This is A Savior's Praise by Teresa from Shakespeare's Peddler, or Kitten Stitcher on her website and her Flosstube. And I'm using all the called for except for a couple that I switched out. But I've been working on this, and let me move it around so you can kind of see. You kind of see this bottom, this side border right here is what I've been working down to. So she's pretty big. This is the one where I'm doing for all of my great aunts and my grandma and their mother, who's my great grandmother, Martha Butterfield. And so I'm almost finished with this border, and then I'll be able to start stitching here in the center, and then I should be able to reach my goal to finish this by Christmas Day, because I want to finish this by Christmas Day. This was my Christmas Day start of last year, and so that I can start a new one that I have ready to go, and I'll kit it, and I will let you know what that is in my next floss too when I talk about my Christmas stitching. Okay, let's set those over there. The next one I've been able to make some progress on is Our Lasting Friendship by Blackbird Designs. This is the one where I'm doing with a group of our friends together. There's, I think, 8 of us, and I was able to finish this center border and get that ready to go, and then do some more of the motifs here. Now I am stitching this on 36 count latte by Fiber on a Whim, and I used all of the called for colors except for 4. I did a conversion. Laura had asked me to do a conversion, and so I did. There's the colors. And basically what I did was just take out a few of the browns because there was a lot of browns, which was fine. I think it's a beautiful called for colors, obviously. I mean, Blackbird Designs is Blackbird Designs, and they obviously know how to use their colors together. But for me personally, I wanted a little bit of red and a little bit of gold in it. And so that's what I did, is just pull those together. Now, I had a lot of people asking me for the conversion, and I know that Laura had a lot of people asking her. So in my last Flosstube, which was episode 11, I did, in the description of the video, put my conversion so that you can see that. And I usually, you know, like I said last time, I usually don't like to give my conversion until I'm finished stitching it, just in case I change something. But I doubt very much. You know, as I've been stitching along with this, I'm very happy with the colors and how they're turning out, and I'm not going to be changing anything, so I might as well just give you the conversion. So there you go on that one. Now another one, this of course, this is my crow bag made by Annette, and I was able to start this a while ago during Stitchtober this month with Christy and with Laura, and this is the Gather In. I was going to say Gather with Grateful Hearts, but it's called the Gather In by Paulette Stewart of Plum Street Sampler. And this is how much I was able to get stitched on it so far. This is a hard one to put down. Of course, they're all hard to put down, but I love this one, and this is one that I have been working on for the last few days, and I love it. And so I'm stitching this one on 36 count Dirty U by Dames of the Needle, and I'm stitching with my color conversion, meaning just I'm using Weeks and DMC, some of the called for, but mostly just my conversion, just because I wanted to pull from my stash. And of course, when you choose your fabric from your stash and not use the called for, then that means sometimes you have to change some colors so that they will show up on you know, the linen. But I really like how that is looking. So I'll keep continuing. I'm hoping to have that one finished by Thanksgiving. Now this one, yes, I'm still continuing this one, and no, it will not be finished by Thanksgiving. One Thanksgiving it will be finished. But this is my Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow using the Shepherd's Bush conversion. Okay, so here's the cover again, Carriage House Samplings. I'm using the Shepherd's Bush conversion mostly, using their threads, but sometimes placement is a little bit different depending on what needs to show up where. I've had several of you ask how to get the Shepherd's Bush conversion. Well, you can get that from Shepherd's Bush. They do have a website, and on their website they have a phone number and email, so you can contact them and ask them how you can get their conversion. So this is what I've been able to work on. I don't know how low can you
just turn it sideways, and then they'll be able to see a little bit.
This is the block that I've been working on down here. And I just love this. This is one I was working on when I was up in Midway with those swirling leaves. And I was working on it this morning. I was stitching these leaves, and when Cassidy came to film, and I'm like, just one more leaf. Aren't we all like that? We're just like, one more stitch, one more X. I hope you, all of you have been able to stitch some fall fun right in the middle of fall. Really is fun to do it that way. Okay, so another WIP I want to show you is I have been working on, here, let's move this around, my Quilty Barn mix and match. But as I said last time, yes, it's part of my Stitchtober, but remember when I alluded to the fact that it sure would be fun to put Christmas things inside of here. That's what I'm going to be doing with my barn. And so I'll be, here, let me move it that way so you can kind of see the progress. Okay, and I'm stitching on 36 count Old Town Blend, but I really think that this might be mismarked. I think this is 40 count instead of 36. If not, it's very, very tight. I've enjoyed stitching on it, but I just know that I usually love to stitch on 36 count because I love to stitch with just one strand of thread over two on linen, because I like the coverage, that it's not real bulky thread. But I'm noticing that just with the DMC, which I stitch with a lot, obviously, that it's just very kind of dense stitching. So that's why I think, I haven't measured it or anything, but I'm pretty sure that it's 40 count. But I'm loving it. I love how this barn, the silo barn, is what I'm doing first right now. And then I'll be putting something Christmas in, and I'll show you that in my next floss tube. And I've got my Farm Fresh egg drops here, love those, and my Quilty Barn needle minder, and my little bitty boards that I have my thread. So even though I have this all organized, as I'm using these colors, I just wind them up here, and then I love to use them. I think it's kind of like the painter in me, kind of like has the palette, and I just pull them up and grab one strand off, and when I'm finished with that color completely on the whole project, then I'll just go ahead and put it back here on the Farm Fresh egg floss drops. Okay, so that's the progress I have on that. I can't wait to show you what that's gonna turn into in my next floss tube, which will be, you know, probably in a couple of weeks around Thanksgiving, because that's when I finish my you know, Stitchtober stitching, like I said, and start Christmas. So all right, I want to pull something else in, because I want to show you that I am continuing to stitch on my red samplers. This is the bag that my red samplers are living in, and pretty excited that I was able to finish. Here, let me move this one off first so I can just put it on here. I was able to finish the sampler for my great-grandma Salzetti, Genovefa Ciccone Salzetti, 1884, and she is my dad's grandmother, and she was born in Picendro, Italy. Now when I take this one to get framed, and when I bring her back on the floss tube that I get her back, I'm going to show you some pictures of great-grandma Salzetti, and I'm going to tell you some of the things that my dad and that his brothers and that his sister, who are my uncles and aunts, have said about her and what she was like. And so I'm kind of excited to do that. But this one is going on my heritage wall, where I'm going to be doing the women in my family, a sampler for them, and I'm just going to be doing red samplers, and with their names and their birth date on there. And then I'll continue on going down so that I have one for myself and for Cassidy, my daughter, and for Sophie, my granddaughter, and then I'll just keep adding as I get more granddaughters. So here's one that I have started, and this one is going to be for my dad's grandmother on the other side. So great-grandma Salzetti is his mother's mother, and this one I'm going to be doing for Elvira Lillian Bigelow, 1877, and she is my great-grandmother, and she is my dad's mother, so my grandpa's mom. And I'm stitching on 36 count vintage maple sugar by Lakeside Linen. I'm using Gloriana Silks Schoolhouse Red. This is how much I've got done so far, because I'm doing the 1 or 2 thread before I stitch, like I've always been. And this is the chart that I'm using, this beautiful Pineberry Lane chart, Sarah Platt, 1811. And I love this because when I saw this, I immediately thought red sampler, and I've had this for quite a while, thinking I was going to do it in reds. And I could have done it in all different reds, but I really don't want to do that. I just want to do I want to do one color of red with different colored linens, and then just have them on the walls. So I'm happy about that. And I know I've talked about this one before, that this is on Affogato and I've been using the leftovers on the affogato, and so I wanted to show you again what I've been doing with that. I'm continuing on with my sampler in a jar. See, I've got some little scraps here that I need to stitch some more on. I'll show you those in a minute, what I'm doing with those. But I was able to do a few more buttons, and thank you so much for all of your kind words and positive comments and wanting to stitch sampler in a jar with me. So I would love for you to do some stitching with me and just hashtag it sampler in a jar. Doesn't even have to be Sal, just hashtag it sampler in a jar, and so I can see what you're doing. And so these are the ones that I've added so far since last time, and these are 1.5 inch covered buttons, so you can stitch a little bit more on those. And of course I could even get a larger design using 40 count or whatever, but right now I'm just using the leftovers off of my samplers. And so these are the ones that I have finished. Those I've shown you before that are on 1 1/8 inch. Okay, these are the ones I've shown you. And I'll show you the new ones that I did. Let's see, I've already shown you the chair, the crown, and I was able to do a cat. I should probably show you these new ones up closer, like that. So a watering can. Of course, I had to do a cat for Halloween. And let's see what else. I'll just show you the new ones. Well, all of these were new. So let's see, here's the bee. I didn't show you the 1.5 inch size last time, so I thought I would show you this time. The squirrel and the ship. And then let's see, I was able to do, let's see, I showed you these are the 7/8 inch size right here. These are the ones I've shown you before. H, the tree, the teapot, the quilt block, the bird, or the baby peacock. And in this size, I was able to do a cute little bunny. And this pretty pear hanging from a branch. And these are just from, you know, like I said last time, just from things that I'm stitching on. I just took some motifs off of them, and as I'm stitching on them or as I finish them or whatever, and put them on there. So, okay, put them on the little covered button for my sampler in a jar. These are the 3/4 inch size that I've shown you before that I did, but I was able to add one more to that. I had to do a little bit of acorn to go with the squirrel. Those look kind of cute on that platter. So, you know, I've just got a small jar that I'm filling up. Now it's a good half full. And, but of course I'll just get a bigger jar or whatever. But I think they look cute out on a platter, in a basket. I'll be sewing them onto pillows. There's a lot of things I'll be doing with them. Right now, I'm working on the alphabet. I'm doing some things that I'm going to be putting onto a pillow with the alphabet, like the date or a name or initials or something, so you can put individual initials like L-E-H would be mine, or the year or something, and then sew them onto the pillow, onto the side or something from a stitch. You know, those are just a lot of the things I'm going to be doing. But for right now, they all just go in a jar and they look fun. And they're really, really fun to do. It's so fun to just use your leftover silks. This is 945 that I've been using for these, and different leftover linens, and again, something you would normally just discard because they're so small. But this way, I love it how you can make something out of nothing. And speaking of making something out of nothing, this is my strip of avocado. Okay, from the whole long strip. Now let me see. When I open this, how much can you see, Cass? Can you see the whole thing? Oh, good. Okay, so I did this. I hem stitched the sides. This is the whole length of the affogato, 36 count, and I've been stitching words. Words, these are ones that my grandparents told me all the time. This is something they lived by, and it's something I try to live by or think about a lot. Use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. And then of course I put, you know, who said it? Grandma and Grandpa. And I put on a vintage spool here, and I just used the same thread to kind of tack that together so that it was on there. I could easily take it off if I wanted to. But I love that it winds up here on this spool, and I plan on continue doing this, stitching words for my grandparents, for my mom, for my dad, you know, just words that I try to live by and that I can hear them saying to me, you know, not like actually hear with my ears, but I can hear with my heart and I can hear with my mind. And I know a lot of us do that, you know, as we're doing something, you know, the words from our moms or our dads or our grandma come to us, you know, about different things. I know I do that a lot when I'm canning, you know, I will just kind of have a question in my mind of the next step, what I need to do, and I will hear my mom, you know, or my grandma, you know, giving me direction and things like that. And so I want to put those down into my memory. I want to stitch them, and as I'm stitching them, I think about them, and it just brings fond memories, and it's just kind of a fun keepsake to have. I'll probably just close this with a little old safety pin, or, you know, do a little clothespin. Now, I'm also have done this in the past. I wanted to show you that instead of on a wooden spool, you could use a vintage clothespin, and you just start like that, and you just wind it around that way. And you just keep it in your little sewing basket, keep it in your little basket of goodies. You can always remember the words that you can hear your grandparents or your parents saying, or even your children to you. So that's something just out of a little bit of a leftover. You don't have to hem stitch them. Sometimes I haven't. You can just, you know, roll it and then press it. There's just a lot of different ways that you can finish. But again, I just used the same silk. This is Affogato, and I hope that inspires you, that maybe you know, I just kind of wanted to show it to you. And, you know, the different things that we put on there is personal, of course, to our families. But another thing that I'm working on right now is I'm doing scripture. I love to do favorite scripture. So, I don't know, it's just kind of fun to be inspired. I know I get inspired by all of you and your floss tubes when I'm able to watch them, and I just, you know, would love it if I was able to inspire you to remember the words from your family and to stitch them up. Okay, so there's that. Hope you guys will be doing the red sampler with me. Sorry, sampler in a jar. But I did want to show you one thing that I got. Look at this, I'll show it sideways. Okay, so I got this from Laureate Thread Milk. Okay, isn't that beautiful? Look at this, it's a holds my threads. So this is what I've been using since I got it for my wool applique. So in here, let's see, here's my little old vintage container that I've got my pearl cotton in here sometimes that I'm doing some wool applique. And right now, this is my, do you remember this Tupperware that they call crafterware? It has that. Look how fun. So I'm working on a penny rug right now, a little penny placemat. Okay. And so for that, I'm using the Valdani 174, and that's what's in here. And so it just easily puts, you know, is on that spool, and it pulls out as I'm stitching all these little circles. Isn't that fun? I like keeping them in this little, like I said, this little crafterware, so it makes it very portable. I've had it in my trailer, and so I'll be connecting those. But I just kind of wanted to show you this and how fun that was. And of course it's the beehive, and it's beautifully made. And so I just felt like I needed to have that. And those are some of the ones that I have finished so far, and I think that's really going to be fun. So I wanted to show you that, and as I was pulling out all of my other Stitchtober things, I wanted to show you this. Speaking of wool applique, this is something that I did several years ago when I designed my Autumn Love. I'm going to have to go like this because I know it's really long. When I designed my Autumn Love sew-along quilt with my Sew Simple shapes, I just knew that this block, or any of the blocks really, but I went ahead and did this block to hang above my door, would be awesome in wool. So what I did is I took my bee backgrounds, cut 2.5-inch squares, sewed them together, and quilted it and bound it and everything, so it's already done. And then I went ahead and did the wool applique on it using my Sew Simple shapes, but using wool instead. And of course you don't have to turn the edges under or anything. And I need to press that out as it's been rolled up. I usually keep it rolled up, but sometimes it gets folded. But it's easily pressed and steamed right there so that goes flat. But I just wanted to show you that, how fun that is. By doing wool applique onto a quilt, it gives it a nice sturdy back to do your applique on, because you know wool's thicker and heavier, and I just love it because it doesn't fray. And I just did a very rustic stitch with matching thread on that one. So I just wanted to show you that some other few fall things that I've been doing, and I'm wishing you all a happy fall, and hopefully, like I said, you're getting some good fall stitching in. I'm sure a lot of you are doing Christmas stitching, and that's fun as well. And next week I'll be back with it's my turn to do my virtual fall quilt market. So I'll be showing you all of my pre-yardage of cookbook, the actual fabric that will be coming in December. We'll be talking about that so long. I'll be showing you my new fabric collection on the storyboard that I'm introducing called Prairie, and all of the quilts and projects that go with that. And I'll just be showing you my new notions, fabrics, and talking about all of the things that normally would be in the booth at Fall Quilt Market. And so thanks so much for joining me today, and I really appreciate all of your comments and all of your support, and I will chat with you later.